Last weekend was full of marquee matchups in college football, and our analysts John Hill and Julian Council are here to weigh the odds of some of the scenarios based on what we saw. Now, guys, let's start with Heisman frontrunner right now, Geno Smith. Okay. Still on fire since that game against Baylor. Now, what are his chances of winning the Heisman this year?
I'm going to go a little ecstatic here with my numbers. I'm going to say 120%.
That is a lot.
That's some big numbers right there. You know why I'm going to throw up such big numbers on him? Because he is himself throwing up big numbers. Already got 2,000 passing yards on the season, 24 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 202 passer rating. That's looking really bold right now. Almost as bold as my predictions I've been making.
I mean, very bold predictions thus far. I mean, 120% to win the Heisman. Okay,
yes.
It's too early in the season. I'm going to go with 50%.
Oh.
He has by far the better chance than anyone in the country. But I'm not going to sleep on other guys, especially like Colin Klein, who's carrying the KC Wildcat team right now. I mean, he has over 1,200 total yards, 14 total touchdowns. He could get it done there, and you can look at Kenyon Barner of Oregon with 727 rushing yards thus far. And it's as much of a team award as it is an individual award. So if West Virginia happens to start losing games down the line, that could hurt Geno Smith's chances.
But along those same lines, I still think Kansas State's going to lose games before West Virginia does.
Well,
and Geno Smith's still putting up the bigger numbers overall. Colin Klein has done nice things, especially as he's come out of nowhere.
Unfortunately, when you compare Colin Klein's numbers to Geno Smith's, right now he's got the video game numbers.
That's 120% right there.
We still do have a lot of time, like you said, though. Now, moving on to South Carolina, who have done a lot of great things so far. A big win this weekend, and now they're number 3 in the country. Now, do you guys think they're going to be able to hold on to the SEC East?
I'm going to go with yes at this moment in time. I mean, this is a team every year I have a tough time believing in, but I'm going to go with 60% chance that South Carolina does win the SEC East. It's going to come down the next 2 weekends, of course, because at LSU this weekend, then at Florida. Florida, ranked 4th in the country, seems to be back this year. Chess Driscoll at quarterback and Gillisley at running back. And, I mean, I'm going to go. If Connor Shaw can stay healthy and Marcus Lattimore continues to do what he does and South Carolina defense plays like a top 5 defense that they are, then I can see South Carolina making it to the last.
That's the thing. I don't even think Connor Shaw being fantastic is really dependent on them winning because he's played well so far. Excuse me, don't get me wrong. But he's been aggressively average, we'll call it. Marcus Lattimore has been leading their running attack, and their defense has just been totally stifling, giving up nothing to Georgia. And I think next week versus LSU will be a big deal. But then after that, they'll play Florida, then Tennessee for their actually 2 remaining SEC East schedule. Florida's offense looked really anemic versus LSU. And LSU does have a good defense, but Florida's offense this year has just not been overpowering.
And this is a tough stretch they're coming up to right now with Florida and Tennessee.
4 straight games
let's
where
not
it's
forget,
very tough to win.
Right there,
last game of the year against Clemson. And Clemson's another team that you have to think about at least if they get let down after this SEC run.
But you have to think about, but it's not in their SEC.
Yeah. So it's not the SEC, but still.
As far as maybe a national championship picker, that could help. That could hurt them.
Now, we've got one final question. Speaking of the national championship picture, Alabama and Oregon have separated themselves a little bit from the rest of the field right now at 1 and 2. Alabama getting 60 votes for first place this week, which is absurd. Do you guys see them as the championship game at the end of the year?
I think it is a little far to be calling this as definitively as I called my Geno Smith Heisman pick earlier, but I think I'll give both of them 60% chance of making it to the finals. For Oregon, they have USC, Stanford, and Oregon State coming up. The last couple of years, Oregon playing Oregon State last game of the year in the Civil War. Oregon's been dominating that game, so I don't really see that changing. USC lost to Stanford earlier by rushing Matt Barkley so much. So I think Oregon has a very quick defense, and they can beat USC that same way. So I think those are 2 of their 3 big matchups that they'll be able to beat.
But still, still a tough schedule for them. And Alabama has just a tougher schedule with Mississippi State, A&M, and LSU, and possibly SEC championship game if they make it far. And looking at probably playing South Carolina or Florida. But it's hard for me to see. I'm going to give it a 30% chance because there's so much can happen. And we know in November how crazy college football becomes. You got to still look West Virginia, Kansas State. The winner of that game next week really doesn't have as tough as a schedule as Oregon and Alabama does. And they can thank NC State for beating Florida State this weekend because Florida State should have ran to the ACC.
But I don't think Alabama has as tough of a schedule as people are calling it out. I think actually Texas A&M in about 3 weeks will be their toughest game. I think it should be a great week.
These 2 teams, I don't know if you could get more opposite. Alabama 4th in the league in points against, and Oregon 1st in points for. So it would be an interesting championship game if they could get there. But we have to take one more time out. When we come up, Kurt and I have assembled teams to see who knows more about the MLB playoffs. You're watching One-on-One Sports.